With this energy of something to say, somebody is not happy about how your last conversation went or how things ended. This is somebody that has been meaning to reach out to you for quite some time, and I'm hearing set the record straight. So it feels like they know that you have assumed the worst about silence, about a disconnect, about something that was said in a previous interaction that might have given you the impression that this was somebody who was not interested in you, was turned off by something that was shared, something that was talked about, when in fact it's almost like the experience or the interaction with you, even if it didn't go well the last time, it has helped this person to sit and really think about the ways in which it feels like they had one sort of assumption, one sort of expectation of how things would go. This might have even been somebody that thought you weren't going to give them a chance at all. They just sort of reached out to you, made an effort, introduced themselves, initiated conversation, initiated a connection, because they might have been in a place in their life where they're like, well, I'll never know unless I take risks. And so you were one of those risks that they took. There wasn't a very high expectation that you would reciprocate. This person might have thought you were like out of their league or up on a pedestal a little bit. And so they kind of self-sabotaged. They second-guessed themselves. They doubted themselves. There's nothing that you did or said wrong. This is all something on their part that has taken place that it feels like has not kind of set well with them. They have not meant to kind of be disconnected or distant from you for as long as they have. They know that there's some kind of awkwardness that needs to be addressed between the two of you in order for anything more to happen. This is not somebody that just wants to fade out of your life. They don't just want this to be a missed opportunity between the two of you, but this is almost somebody that feels like I need to get the wording right. I need to make sure that I can be consistent or, more direct even about like my hesitations or, something as far as like setting the tone and pace of how things develop between the two of you, that they need to be ready to be very honest about that if this isn't just going to be kind of like a repeat of the past. This is somebody that almost feels like they might have one opportunity to get you to hear them out, or it could be the kind of thing that whatever was sort of fumbled in this situation up to this point in time, there's a sense of like they understand that it's going to take multiple conversations, reassurances in order to get you into a position within yourself of understanding like they're serious about you. They mean business this time. Again, this is somebody that when they initially connected with you, they didn't anticipate either that things would go as well as they did, or they didn't really think that you would be interested in them. But again, it was like, I don't want to just live my life kind of always wondering what if. This is somebody that's in a season of their life where they're taking very calculated risks forward in new directions. They're trying to cultivate new experiences, break free of like limiting patterns where they'd held themselves back in life, and they got this like bucket full of regrets, times where it's like, I should have said something, I should have approached that person, maybe it could have turned into something. Maybe that would have been an opportunity for me. Maybe if I had moved in a particular direction, things would be different. And so along that kind of like line of thinking of sort of like trying out new things and, giving in to kind of urge and impulse to step outside of the comfort zone, that led to an experience with you, an encounter with you, a conversation with you, a series of interactions that went so well that this person, it feels like they almost second guess themselves, kind of like, I didn't anticipate that. I didn't calculate, I didn't plan for that. I didn't map that out as like a possibility of what if. And it feels like that momentary stumbling or even something that they might have said that was kind of like a reflection of sort of their own fears coming to the surface, something where it's like even sort of inconsistency or a bit of silence on their part has caused you to get into this energy of like reasonably overthinking, assuming the worst about the situation because it seemed to all be going well, and then this person like abruptly shifted on you. They changed up on you. Like they understand that the burden of proof rests upon them in order to kind of redeem themselves, or to try to get back into a position of like, I think that we can fix this. So this is somebody that if they were like hesitant before, they're definitely like way more intimidated at this particular point in time. Like your energy was intimidating before, But now that there's been something that has happened, like that they take responsibility for on their part, where, you know, they fumbled, they stumbled in this situation, they didn't mean to kind of like let things sort of spiral out of control in this way. And so there is again that kind of like pressing sense within of like, I don't want this to just be a what if. Maybe this could have been salvaged. Maybe this is something that you would have had an understanding for me. Maybe this is the kind of circumstance that, you know, if I had just taken that step forward, you know, things could have been better. Maybe this is something where we were the right people for one another. The timing was slightly off, but, you know, if I take that step forward, maybe this is the right time. It's like this person doesn't want to sit with those energies of what if. And so it's almost kind of like they're very nervous at this particular point in time, trying to not talk themselves out of saying something. This is somebody that's trying to talk themselves in to just expressing themselves, taking that chance, taking that leap of faith. Maybe you ignore them. Maybe, you know, it's something that conversation goes really well and things can get back on track. Maybe this is the type of situation where they're just kind of building this up to be something like more, you know, devastating than it is. Maybe you kind of like, you understood or you anticipated that, you know, it's like you've played it cool with this person. You know, you haven't overreacted to kind of whatever has happened that they are interpreting or that they reasonably understand has been some sort of like hiccup in this connection. And so then there's also that question for them, kind of like, maybe this is all me. Maybe I'm just like tripping over nothing. And if I take a step forward, if I say something, maybe it'll work out better than what I thought. We also have obsessed. Yes, this person is like obsessed thinking about this, kind of like, I need to say something, I need to do something, I got like a window of opportunity, I gotta shoot my shot, I gotta speak my piece, I gotta present that offer of reconciliation. I've got to talk to this person again. This can definitely be the type of situation where they're kind of like seeking you out, like they're out and about and they hope to run into you. They're trying to like manifest some sort of encounter. They understand that it's like one way or another, they're going to have to be the one to knock on the door. They're going to have to be the one to approach. You have given them like clear indicators of like, whatever has happened in this situation, it has caused you not to kind of respond with the energy of giving chase. So they understand that it's like, if anything's going to change in this circumstance, they have to be the one to do that. If this isn't just going to sit in kind of this realm inside of themselves of like a woulda, coulda, shoulda, or the energy of regret, they need to be the one that kind of like clears the air. They're going to need to be the one that kind of like presents that clarity, presents that truth, you know, presents that kind of like, hey, how's it going? How you been? How you doing? You know, something where it might even just be like a nonchalant approach. That may be all that's required in this situation. But now this person is kind of like, ooh, but you know, what if it was kind of like everything was good between the two of us before? Maybe your feelings are really hurt. And so I come forth in a nonchalant sort of energy and, you know, you kind of like give me a piece of your mind, or, you know, it turns into something like very negative. And there's almost a sense of like, if it went there, they would kind of feel like they deserved it, because they don't like how they sort of like left things, how they handled things in this situation. This is definitely the kind of person, you know, that is kind of like ruminating at this particular point in time. They're thinking back over everything that they said and kind of like, why did I say that? Why did I let that come out like that? They might have even like misread or misinterpreted something in the exchanges between the two of you. And they're like, oh my gosh, I was just like looking at that from a totally like low vibrational place. That's not what that person meant at all. Why did I assume the worst about this? So this is somebody that's trying to like untangle themselves from some sort of mental knot. They're all tongue-tied. The words get all jumbled up. They think about what to say and then they second guess that. You may be feeling this person kind of like tugging on your energy at this particular point in time, and that's not a figment of your imagination. This is somebody that isn't like, oh, I can't let this go, I'm clinging to this, it's a closed door and I'm just relentless lingering on the other side of it. This is something where it's like there's almost a high likelihood that they understand, you know, energetically or even just in the nature of what's happened in the past between the two of you, that it's not kind of over and done with. There's still the opportunity to kind of, you know, pull something off in this situation. They could present that communication. It's like the Hail Mary pass and they save the day. They redeem themselves. They're back in the game as far as you are concerned. And they understand that. And so this is somebody that is putting a lot of like thought into that. What's that going to look like? How should I say it? How should I approach? Is now the right time? Is later the right time? You're picking up on something as far as that's concerned within this person's kind of like mental chatter from afar. We also have jealousy. Yeah, so this is somebody that doesn't want to miss an opportunity with you. They don't know, it feels like, if you've moved on, if you've met someone else, if you're talking to somebody else. It feels like the idea of that, missing out on what might happen between the two of you because they were all kind of like stuck in their head. They were overthinking. The idea of that, it feels like, makes this person very like angry because there's no one to blame but themselves. They feel like in this situation, that there's a sense of kind of like they're talking themselves kind of like away from some sort of inevitable conversation. They're making it harder than it needs to be. And they understand that this is not kind of serving them. This is not kind of like buying them any sort of time. That the silence, the awkwardness, the kind of distance, if you still are in communication with one another, this person could be kind of cold, kind of distant. They make up excuses. I got to get off the phone. I can't really talk right now. Like, they understand that your patience is wearing very thin. And there's the sense of like, you're only going to hold on for so long before you set your sights elsewhere, or somebody else comes in and they kind of swoop you up because they're saying and doing all the right things that I would like to do, but I'm just not doing at this particular point in time. And so this is somebody that's almost kind of in competition with the potential of like you moving forth and becoming somebody else's blessing, the opportunity for somebody else to have like romantic connection. There's this fear that like you'll establish like a talking stage, you'll meet somebody and that things will go so well, or you'll just be shown a different kind of experience like right out of the gate, that if they come back around and you already have somebody else that you're having encounters or experiences with, there's a sense of like, well, what would I have to bring to the table? What could I really offer you? Somebody that hasn't kind of fumbled a situation, doesn't have to reconcile, doesn't have to like make up for lost time. They have a competitive advantage over me because I've got some explaining to do. I've got to kind of like make things right. And so this is somebody that's kind of like pressing themselves in order to act with a sense of urgency in the situation. They're trying to get themselves out of that overthinking energy and into the action mode of speaking. We also have you feel like home. Yeah, so this person felt a very like good connection. You were very easy to talk to. They felt very comfortable in your presence. The fact that they have like fumbled this connection, they took a step back, it's almost like the sense of sort of like, I have self-sabotaged. I've sabotaged my own blessing. There's a sense where they're really kind of like thinking about that. They're rereading previous conversations or even just kind of like replaying the scenario in their head. And the more that they look at it from all these different angles, the more that they are now in this place of no longer feeling that they were justified in how they reacted to something, the ways in which they kind of like moved and like shifted their approach to you. It's kind of like that created the worst possible impression. They understand that you have now, been kind of given all this energy of confusion, when the reality is they were very like drawn to you, very connected to you, very kind of at peace in your presence. So this is definitely somebody that feels like, I don't want you to, start to kind of like make a home with another person, emotionally speaking, and then I remain in this like out in the cold energy. We also have your my favorite. Yeah, so again, this is something where they really like you. They really felt connected with you. They really felt like, hey, this is something that could really go somewhere. We have the makings of what could be like a satisfying partnership. It might be good to date one another. It may be good to explore things. This is something where there was a lot of chemistry, a lot of potential, a lot in the 3D realm that was fitting the requirements of kind of like what they're attracted to, what they're looking for in a person. So this is somebody that doesn't understand kind of like how things ended up here. It's like, how did we get here? It seemed so promising at first. How did we end up at this place with one another? They again understand it's like, you don't need to make any effort towards them. This is something where it's like, this was my bad, this was my fault, I need to turn this around, I need to make this right, I need to redeem myself to you. So this is somebody that feels like that they're trying to really kind of like hurry. They're trying to really sort of force themselves to do something, to say something, to let you at least know that it's like, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm trying to sort of like figure out why I'm getting in my own way as far as this connection is concerned. There's something that they understand. You're not just going to like take empty promises. You're not going to take mixed signals at this point. It's like, come correct or don't come at all. And so this is somebody, again, that is trying to kind of like convince themselves to take some sort of action, take that leap of faith forward, put themselves out there before it's too little too late. So, those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.